Well, welcome to episode 4 of Brew, Play, Watch.
Woo!
All right. Usual people here today, plus one. We've got my roommate from college.
Hi.
Why don't you give us your name?
That's classified.
His name's Cody.
Oh, it's declassified.
Now you know.
So, yeah, welcome to the show. And this week, we're taking a look at the Sam Adams variety.
We're just looking at it?
Just looking at it.
Okay. Give her a sniff.
Just looking at it.
Looking at the labels, really.
Yeah. So, what's our first beer here, Kyle?
We got the Samuel Adams Summer Ale, Citrus Wheat Ale. The description, Summer Ale, golden, hazy, and satisfying. The American Wheat Ale is synonymous with summer. Our blend of orange, lemon, and lime peels create a pleasant bouquet of citrus. The grains of paradise accent the crisp wheat character with a subtle spice that freshens clean, iconic, as it is refreshing. Summer Ale is just right for any summer day.
There you go.
All right, Jack, can I ask you a question before we try this? Is there something specific that makes a beer like the summer kind? Or is that just, do they...
I just described it too.
No, because I just had Leinenkugel Summer Shandy. Is like there's some commonality between them all, or do the companies just call them that?
It's more of a marketing thing than anything else.
Okay.
They'll use lighter malts and stuff to give it a lighter flavor, but not.
And usually like lemons.
Yeah, usually. Like Shandies always have some kind of fruit in them, so. Kind of hazy. I don't think that's
Very
just the
hazy.
glass.
Yeah.
I don't think it's just...
Hazy.
This isn't that dirty.
I like how it's gold and hazy.
Hazy-esque. It's a tad clear.
There was no
clearish.
Yeah, like not much of a head at all.
Yeah.
And there's no head there.
Ooh, yeah. That smells like summer.
Yeah. It's a pretty mild scent.
Not a whole lot going on.
Get a little bit of lemon.
That's what I was going to say, lemon.
Yeah.
Lemon,
What'd you say was in there? Citrus?
citrus.
Definitely citrus.
Yeah, there's citrus in there.
Wheat. Definitely get the wheat.
Wheat, orange, lemon, lime.
Oh, now that you said orange, I do smell orange
Basically
now.
a Sprite.
Yeah. Where are you getting wheat Sprite at?
From a guy behind Dollar General.
That's not Sprite, dude.
Oh, let's give this a try.
Yeah. It's not bad.
It's pretty good.
You can taste the wheat.
Yeah. Tastes pretty summery.
Right at the end there's where I get the citrus.
I was just going to say, I don't get it like at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I don't get much all citrus.
I think it's more of like just that little bit of sour at the end.
Okay.
I get a lot of wheat vibes, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely wheat. You can taste that pretty
I
strongly.
actually don't mind it. I don't mind the wheat.
It's kind of... I like get citrus as I'm drinking it, as I'm smelling it.
Yeah. I kind of get like, while it's still touching my tongue, I get the citrus, and then after that, it's just all wheat.
If you took like those really dark brown Chex Mix, the wheat ones,
Yeah.
and like put a little drop of lemon, a little drop of lime, and just ate those, I feel like that's what this tastes like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
I don't know about that. But
Well,
okay.
I do. That's correct.
Yeah.
The Leinenkugel one was like too much lemon. It's like life gives you lemons. Amount of lemons.
Right. Well, it's a shandy, so they're really wanting the lemon to come through on theirs. But I like this one better.
Yeah, me too. I had this one a couple times, like ordered it in bars, and it's a pretty good, like, I don't know, I like wheat ales. So like for a wheat ale, this is probably one of the ones that I like more.
oh, and that's a 5.3% alcohol and 8 IBUs.
Nice.
That's probably why I like it.
I didn't
no
know they put
bitterness.
IBUs on it.
No bitterness.
That kind of surprised me when I saw it.
Yeah. I'll explain later.
What's the different kind of wheat beers?
So what do you mean?
What kind of wheat beers we got?
Like, I mean, is Blue Moon wheat ale?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So if something has wheat, is it usually
Usually.
ale?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of the time.
I usually make wheat lagers.
No. I don't know why. I haven't looked into that.
Okay.
I've only made one wheat ale ever. It was that raspberry one. Yeah, I'm not sure.
What's like the actual flavor of wheat?
Those little brown
Because, like-
mix.
Because like we've been all saying that we can taste the wheat in it,
Right.
but wouldn't know how to actually describe that
Like
flavor.
I just
Yeah.
get like wheat bread. So
Yeah.
Does it taste like wheat
or like,
bread?
Have you had Wheaties? Mm-hmm. Like it's not quite the same, but do you get that flavor?
Yeah, I'm just saying like
It's
I would describe wheat flavor as tasting like wheat, but what does that actually mean?
Let's go eat some wheat.
You guys ever you ever taste like whiskey and try to describe it? It's
Yeah.
like it very much tastes like alcohol, but
Right.
people when they're describing it, they'll say like, "Oh, it tastes like this fruit." Like obviously it's not the same as biting into like a plum,
Right.
Or like but you still get those similar like flavor notes. I think it's the
Right.
same way with like beer. When you describe the wheat taste, like it doesn't taste exactly like wheat, but
No,
it's
exactly.
similar.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
good.
the different flavors of bird dog. Like they taste kind of like that thing they're supposed to, but they're like dirty. It's like
like if you dropped it in the driveway.
yes, exactly. Like it's like me and Jack have both drank a lot of bird dog blackberry, but it tastes like you took like blackberries, rubbed them in dirt, and then ate the blackberries.
yeah, it does.
It gets dirty after you drink it for a while.
So if a beer has a flavor, does
Sorry.
this is a real question? If a beer, like say a beer comes out and it's supposed to taste like apple,
Yeah.
does it necessarily mean that it was made using apples, or are there like techniques to where you can get to certain flavors without having to use those exact things?
So yes to both. If they're
I think that was an either-or question.
Yeah.
well, let me explain. so like you can pull out flavors in certain malt that without necessarily using whatever it is. So like caramel comes to mind. You can get a lot of caramel notes without actually putting caramel in your beer.
Interesting.
That's
Right.
Yeah.
Fruit, most of the time when you're tasting fruit, usually it's because they added that fruit to the fermentation. However, hops do provide like citrus notes and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff too.
Especially citrus. I feel like it's
Right.
one that you get those notes without there actually being citrus fruit in it.
Right. So it goes both ways. You can do either one.
Like think about, I don't know, like if you drink much like darker beer, but like sometimes it'll taste like coffee or chocolate. Or,
Yeah.
And like there's not actually chocolate or coffee in all those. It's just
Right.
the malt.
It's almost like this is a science.
Almost. Almost like somebody like took some time with this.
Yeah, right?
Imagine what like the first beers were like.
Probably terrible.
They were probably like bath water.
Probably not good at all. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Well, it kind of started. Well, they thought it was a miracle because they didn't know what yeast was first.
I think beer is still a miracle.
Yep.
Yeah. I forget. I think it was. I forget who it was. It might have been Benjamin Franklin. Who said something about like beer is proof that
God
God
loves
exists
us. Yep.
and that He loves us.
I know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true.
We saw signs of that at work.
Do you
Really?
Yeah, that's on a sign.
Can you bring me one?
No,
Okay.
Man.
I'm not going to pay for that.
Jack, I bet if you took currency to Kyle's place of employment, you could purchase it yourself.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So I just crushed that. It was very drinkable.
Very much a summer ale, and most of the time, summer ales are very crushable
Yeah.
by design.
Let's get the next one.
Let's do it.
I thought it was Rattler, like
It's
the snake.
Radler.
Radler.
It's German.
Okay. Sam Adams Porch Rocker. Sweet, tangy, and refreshing. This beer was inspired by German cyclists who mixed beer with lemonade after a tough ride. In Porch Rocker, we've brewed a gold Helles lager combined with a smooth, effervescent lemonade that'll kick the heat out of any summer day.
A lemonade.
There's two different accent marks on lemonade.
Well, it is very, very clear.
Yeah. It is very clear. Nice yellow
It looks
color.
like
Yeah, I can see my fingers through this out of glass.
Yeah, no kidding. Very clear.
That's what clear means.
Yeah, you can see through it.
It kind of looks like apple juice.
Yeah.
It does.
It does. It's got
Yeah.
that color.
Yeah.
No head at all.
Oh my gosh.
I smell lemonade. Limonade.
That smells like that lemonade drink we used to make in college.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
definitely
know what that
smells
smelled
fruity.
like. It's
Yeah, it has a fruity smell to it. I'd agree with that. Only 8 IBUs.
Oh, really? Another
the-
8
yeah.
IBU?
What's the
4.5.
What? Let's give it a try.
It tastes like it's half lemonade.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Oh, this really gives me like a Bud Light orange vibe.
Okay.
Really close, but if there was more orange in it,
If there was like a Bud Light lemon,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely.
I really like this.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's got that pretty light beer taste along with that.
Like these are the
lemon
like
notes.
easiest drinking kind of beers you can get.
This is like you want to drink a light beer, but not hate yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
You wanted to have a little extra flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty good.
This is like the beer of my people if you just want to like have a little bit of flavor in there.
the beer of your people.
Yep.
Who would that be?
Oh, the cracker beer people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't even taste crackers in this though.
No, but it's still
You could add a couple.
It's still of the right type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get.
You could still stand on the porch of your trailer wearing a wife beater and drink that.
It's got porch in the name.
Yeah, exactly.
You're set.
It's the Porch Rocker.
That's the intended drinking.
Correct.
So it's the Porch Rocker. What are you listening to as you drink this on your porch?
I can imagine.
Willie Nelson.
No, I imagine some dude in his 50s drinking this, sitting on his porch rocker, and just blasting AC/DC.
Yeah. Okay. This is an AC/DC beer for sure.
Oh yeah. If I ever went and saw AC/DC, I'd take this to the concert.
I was getting a more mellow vibe out of this.
Yeah.
That's why I said Willie Nelson. I would love to sit at like.
This is hardcore for the trailer park, though.
I would. Well, yeah. I would like this. You'd sit on your porch at like 5:30 after work and relax.
And you drink like 8 cans of it.
Yes.
Right.
And then you'd go over to your trailer park neighbor and
Take his
do
lawnmower.
whatever happens in the trailer.
Well, something's getting cut. That's good. I like this.
I
good.
I agree with you now about the Bud Light Orange.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like a slightly different citrus. It's like a little.
It has like the
toned
same
down.
texture.
Yeah.
Like the texture and
Dude,
like the beginning flavor.
It drinks the same.
It does drink the same.
So very easy
I
drinking.
concur.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, it's not bad. I feel like I don't like it as much as the last one, but it's good.
I could kill a case of this
I
in a
agree.
week
Yeah.
pretty easily.
I feel like this one should be the summer one.
I mean, they're all summer.
Yeah, this is other summer beers.
We got the summer variety pack by Sam Adams.
Here's a question though: would you drink this after going on a tough bicycle ride?
No, I'd probably drink a water.
Yeah.
Definitely going for like a Gatorade for a long bike ride.
I don't do a whole lot of physical activity, so
Kyle, what's it say? Who did this? Germans?
yeah.
Let me take a little look-see here.
He was in the first line, buddy.
You know, I didn't read the label.
What were you reading?
You read it.
I know. He has the.
Inspired by German cyclists
That's what
who mixed
Oh.
beer with lemonade.
What were those cyclists thinking?
They were German cyclists. They were probably thinking, let's get drunk.
Yeah.
And, ride our bicycles more.
I mean, okay, I feel like it's, you finish a long bike ride, you get off, you chug like a bottle of water, and then you go straight for one of these.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
At the cyclist after party.
Yeah. You know how cyclists get down.
Right. Oh yeah.
They're like waiting for you at the finish line with like 2 of these in hand. You just start double fisting them,
Yeah,
Yep.
but they're like pitchers too, and you're just like splashing it all over yourself, just trying to drink it, riding your bike.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Oh, that's good.
Kyle, if you could ride a bike and drink a pitcher of beer,
Oh, I absolutely would.
Could you?
No, could you?
I would try.
That might be a
That's good
Brew
enough.
Play Watch extra.
No, there were times when I lived in the trailer.
Yeah.
Do you want this
Yeah.
broadcast to the world?
Yes. There were times I lived in the trailer and I had a bike. And I would get real drunk and I'd want to ride my bike. And my brother would be like, no, you can't do that because you can still get a DUI for just riding a bike. And I'd be like, well, that's stupid.
Wait, you can get a DUI?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
You can
driving
get-
while
Yeah.
intoxicated.
Yes, you can get on a bicycle. You can get a DUI on a
That
bicycle.
counts
You
as
did-
driving.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can get
Dude, cops are terrible.
And a
What are they
kayak, actually.
In a
I-
kayak.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Dude, see, okay, this would be perfect.
The river cop's gonna get me.
This beer would be perfect for a kayak, though. Just like,
Oh, yeah.
take a
I can see that.
kayak
Yes.
on the river for the day. That would
Let's
be
get in the lake.
awesome.
Let's get
Yeah.
Absolutely. So,
Be a great kayaking beer.
It'd be a great like river beer.
yeah.
Just go down, hang out by a river.
Let's do it. We'll just walk outside and look over. The river. So, all right. Anything else to say about this beer?
Excellent.
Not bad.
9 out of 10.
9.
Yeah.
Wow. It's pretty high praise.
Wow.
I think
From
that's
the
not-
guy who, before we started recording, said he didn't like Sam Adams.
The last time I had one of their variety packs, I didn't like anything in there.
We got their fall variety pack, and I think that was the wrong time.
I remember I drank one of them and I took a sip and I just dumped half all of it down the drain. I was like, no.
Does the fall one have Oktoberfest?
Yeah.
Oktoberfest. You didn't like Oktoberfest?
No, not a fan.
What? They had one, the maple leaf one.
That was the worst thing I ever tasted in my entire life.
I liked
I
it.
was like, why did you create this? Who wanted this? Who was like, this is a good idea?
Does it taste like maple?
Yeah, it tasted
No.
like you took the bark off of a maple tree and just chewed on
I
it.
If
don't
you
know what
took
that
like a
tastes
leather boot and like a piece of like a maple leaf and chewed on it, and then you went and walked into Canada, that's the taste you would get.
You know, I gotta say, I was in Canada last week.
Did it taste terrible?
The maple like stereotype is not wrong.
Really?
Literally everything there is like maple.
Excellent.
I got ice cream and they just put maple syrup on it.
That sounds terrible.
What?
It kind of was.
You're like, I'll have a
I'm
chocolate
coming for you,
cone.
Canada.
And they're like, okay, we'll just dump maple syrup on
That's
that.
pretty much. They didn't even ask. It was just like it just comes standard up there.
All right, moving on. Sam76. It is a refreshing, flavorful craft. I think that's just their logo.
It's half and half, right, Check?
What? That's the Surgeon General.
Go
warning.
around to the back.
There's no back.
Oh, they didn't describe this one.
Jack.
I can describe it. I've had it.
It's half and half, right?
Yeah, it's a half ale, half lager kind of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is real weird to think about how they did that.
It's good though.
It's very good. It's got 4.7% alcohol and 12 IBUs.
So, because ale or lager, that has to do with how they brew it, right? So they like brew two different beers and mix them together, and that makes this guy?
Yeah, so it actually comes down to the fermenting process.
Okay.
The type of yeast you use is what makes the difference. So that would be my guess is they made two different beers and then blended them.
That's cool.
Kind of like how a blended scotch works.
Right.
Kind of thing.
How does a blended scotch work?
They take different whiskeys and put it all into one.
Okay.
If you look
That's
at
like that's how
really
they make iron.
Iron?
Steel.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
Yep.
So, hazy.
I see it like it's
pretty light.
It's got like a greenish tint.
Yeah,
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yellow, little
Yeah.
bit towards the green side.
Yeah.
Not much of a head again. That's kind of a theme.
Now, don't let the smell fool you.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the smell.
Oh, dude, I love that like slightly hoppy, citrusy smell.
Citrus, pine.
Yeah,
I do get a lot of pine.
Oh, yeah.
I love that smell.
I'm not a fan of pine. I grew up like next to like 30 pine trees. I don't like
You don't
pine.
like it, man.
I smell pine every day for like 18 years.
Had enough of that, huh?
Yeah. Not a fan.
I love that smell.
That's gonna.
Now, wasn't the cans have like a wider top, don't they?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Just because
Canning
'cause
process.
they-
I don't know.
thought it'd be neat.
Yeah. All right, let's do this.
Yep, it's still good.
Oh, I love that beer.
Ooh. That's very refreshing. I feel like all of these have been very refreshing, but
Really?
Kyle,
Oh, it's so good.
this is actually the first time I've had Sam 76, but it's pretty good.
This is
Like,
the first time I've had it
impression.
too.
I drank a lot of this in college.
Is it the hops that you don't like, Kyle?
It's not overpowering. It's just there's nothing defining about it. There's nothing that makes me want to have another one. It's just
Try not to smell it. I don't know what that was supposed to do, but I wanted you to do it.
I mean, I could drink it and I could crush these pretty easily. It's easy drinking.
I could sit and drink a 6-pack by myself.
I mean, I could too, but that's because I'm an alcoholic, not because the beer's bad.
I could do it. I wouldn't really enjoy it.
I wouldn't hate it. I would just be like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm drinking beer.
Oh,
But there's nothing about it that makes me like, yeah, this is
I feel
this
like
is the thing.
I like this, like the scent better than the flavor,
okay.
but it's still pretty good. Like the flavor is not bad. But
Yeah.
I do agree with Kyle. Like to me, it doesn't stand out as much as the
Yeah.
other two that we've had.
Maybe it's just because I don't like pine at all. Maybe that's it.
That could be part of
It's
it.
your pine vendetta.
Yeah. I'm going to kill all the pine trees. But I don't know. I give it like 7 out of 10.
7.6.
No, 7.
7.6.
Oh, why is it called 76, Jack?
America.
Yeah, it's 1776. That's
Yeah.
There's no other reason. I don't think.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought. Yeah. I had never had a blended beer before. That was my first blended.
I'd never
beer.
heard of such a thing before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
apparently it's a thing.
interesting.
Maybe it's also because it's my first blended beer. I don't have a taste for blended beers.
That's
He doesn't have-
probably
the
it.
palate's not set up.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, last week we had our first sour beers. Like one of them was pretty good, and the other one was
Like you can't eat chicken for the first
Terrible.
time and be like, I love this chicken more than the other chicken I had last week.
right. Because you didn't have chicken last week.
They put pepper on this. This is so much better.
Right.
I don't know, man. I think it's growing on me a
Is
little
that
bit.
your internal thoughts when you eat food?
Yes. Oh, they put pepper on it. Wow.
Oh man.
Wow. All
I
right.
like pepper too.
Remind me not to eat with you anymore.
I think it's growing on me.
Yeah, it's a good beer.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I would be happy with that.
Yeah. When I handed it to my cousin to try, and the first time he tried, he was like, too hoppy. I'm like, did you even like taste it, or did you just smell it?
No, I feel like it's. I mean, I think it has it on the bottle. I think it was like 30 IBUs.
Oh no, it's only 12.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
not.
don't have it
Yeah,
in
it's
front
not
of
like
me,
bitter
but-
at all.
I
It's only
remember
12.
that.
Yep.
I looked at it. And it was 4.7 and 12.
Okay. Yeah, my bad. That's the next one that has 30. But I don't know. I definitely taste the hops, but they're blended really well.
Oh yeah.
And that's one of the things, like with hoppy, well, not even hoppy beers, but when I can taste the hops, I need other flavors to kind of blend with it.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think this does that really well.
So, Jack, can you describe like the defining characteristics of an ale and a lager?
Oh yeah. So this goes for most cases because you'll never find a end all be all for anything in beer.
There's
really.
no like pure lager, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Lager is basically it ferments colder, usually in the 40s, 50s temperature range. It ferments longer. That's why it gets clearer. More things fall out of it. That's why you get those cleaner flavors out of a lager.
Makes sense.
There's no like after flavors. Not as much, Whereas ale ferments in warmer environments, like 60s, 70s, ferments shorter. So it can be as short as sometimes 3 days, can be all the way up to 2 months. You just never know. And typically they're hazier, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's an ale or that it's not an ale if it's clear. And yeah, you'll get more of the after flavors. Like a lot of people describe pepper
in the chicken too.
Yeah.
But on the light to dark scale, aren't lager and ale like bumped up against each other? Or I guess more they're closer to each other than like.
I don't think there's actually any like. It might be that like you've had more lagers that are darker than ales, but I think that's just like a correlation.
Yeah. Really, the color of the beer doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like porters and stouts. I'm trying to think which one's which.
Real dark.
Well, yeah, they're both really close.
So why do you think? Not to derail your thought.
No, you're good.
Why do you think a mixture like this works as well as it does?
Oh,
Like why wouldn't a lager and ale
Witchcraft.
complement each other?
I don't know. I have not been into brewing long enough to tell you that.
Okay.
I can tell you that the guys over at Sam Adams are way more qualified than I am.
I hope so.
I can say I've tried quite a few Sam Adams beers. Like I always like whenever they get a new seasonal, like the local bar, trying that out. And most of the Sam Adams that I've tried, I've been like, either this is like at least okay, or like I really like this.
Right.
So
Right. You've had the opposite experience.
Yeah. Not good. Don't drink the Sam Adams pumpkin.
but you've liked all the ones we've had today, right?
This is true.
yeah.
But I'm not a big pumpkin guy. I don't like pumpkin beers. I don't
Yeah.
like pumpkin at all. So, do you like? You don't like pumpkin beers?
If you're not going to eat the whole plant, it's not worth eating.
Oh, you eat the peel of a banana?
I do. You don't? I go and eat the tree, too.
What are you eating there, Kyle? Oh, just a chunk of banana tree.
Yeah, you cut down a banana tree, it gives you food for like a month. I don't know how big banana trees
It's a
are.
lot of fiber, man.
That's all I need. Crack an egg on that. Just have
What?
an egg and some banana tree.
Wait, you don't eat the shell of an egg?
Oh, I do. That's where the salmonella's at.
That's not fruit.
I'm just trying to add to the conversation.
So, what's everybody's take on this Sam 76?
7 out of 10.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. This will probably be my favorite of today.
It's pretty darn good. Beer number 4, we got Sam Adams Boston Lager. Distinctively complex and balanced. 4 ingredients painstakingly chosen. Every year we travel to Bavaria to hand select Hallertau Mittelfrau hops. Dude, those are some German hops. And the Pacific Northwest for the finest 2-row barley. We cultivate our own lager yeast and meticulously measure water quality to ensure consistency. Dang. All our hard work goes into brewing this distinctively flavorful and complex beer for you. Cheers.
I like it when the label reads like a textbook.
It really does.
Like, just say it's good. I don't know.
What's the percent?
Can you read that hops again? I really like the name of it.
Hallertau?
Yeah.
Hallertau Mittelfrau hops.
I commend you, Hallertau. That's not how I said it the first time, but that is the correct way to say it.
Yeah, let's go. I am part German, so
Oh, there is that.
yeah.
All right. This is like
Kyle asked, so 5% alcohol by volume and
Okay.
30 IBUs.
this is like the Sam Adams beer, right?
Yeah.
Boston
Yeah, this
Lager.
is
Like
the
their
one that
big one.
everybody knows.
And how come everybody else has a little tiny head, but I have no head?
Well, yours got poured
shake it around
first.
a
Yours
little
got
bit.
poured first. Yeah.
Put your finger in there.
Use the spoon.
Is that how you get the head? Oh, now I got a little
Yeah,
bit.
there you go.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
feel better about my head now. Dude, your head's going away.
Oh, I better drink it.
All right, what's it smell like?
What do you smell, guys?
It smells like Boston Lager.
It smells malty.
Yeah, a little bit
Yeah.
malt. A little bit of... I don't know. I do smell a little bit of hops, I think.
This smells yeasty to me.
I don't think I know what yeast
Yeah,
smells
I
like.
get that. Yeah.
Does yeast smell like bread?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of smells like bread.
Yeah. Like, I don't usually like the smell of yeast. We actually discussed that when I was brewing the one day.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, but this smells.
Okay, to clarify, when it's dry, it just kind of smells like bread. But when it's wet, it smells like the worst thing on earth.
Wet yeast. Yeah.
Like after it's wet and it's fermented something, and it's just all dead yeast at the bottom, it's not good.
I use a lot of liquid yeast, and so yeah, it never smells great.
Can't you eat yeast?
I
Yeah.
guess you could, yeah.
I don't recommend
Makes
it,
your
but you
bread
could.
rise, so
Yeah.
why not?
So it makes beer.
Yeah.
It's like a pleasant, like slightly gold color.
It's like
Yeah.
an amber color.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
slightly darker gold.
Yeah,
What is this beer like? It's
very clear.
Lager.
it's a lager.
Yeah.
So that's why, part of why it's clear.
Jake, can you give us your best Boston accent?
No.
Based in lager.
I was thinking of one in my head, but it was British, so I couldn't use it.
A Boston lager.
I was thinking of British.
Yeah, it was. I was like, what do British people sound like? I don't know. Are they,
Boston
isn't that
lager?
like English or something? I don't
All right, let's drink it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
That's definitely the most bitter one we had tonight.
Yep.
I got a mustache hair in my mouth. That was cool.
Don't hold that against the beer, Kyle.
I feel like
That's user error.
It wasn't somebody else. It was somebody else's hair in there. I know it. I know what my mustache hair tastes like.
It ain't taste like that.
No.
So I feel like for a lager, this is like heavier.
like in a consistency sense.
Yeah, I feel like it drinks heavier.
Like the
Like a
thickness.
texture.
Like
Yeah.
it's thicker. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
I feel that.
More
Yeah.
malt to it. More.
Is that fair?
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
fair.
Okay.
Absolutely.
See, it doesn't. It might be 30 IBUs, but it doesn't taste as bitter to me as the Sam 76.
Oh no.
No, it's definitely not.
No, the Sam 76 only has 12 IBUs.
But this has 30.
Right.
You think the 76 tasted more bitter?
I think the 76 was
Really?
more better. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
feel like
No.
I tasted the hops a lot more on the
Yeah.
76.
See, that's the problem is people taste the hops and they assume bitterness.
Yeah, this is
This is
I
more
guess
bitter.
those are two
This
distinct
is definitely
things,
more bitter.
The bitterness and the hops.
and the hops. Yeah, they're very, very distinct.
Oh, see,
I don't know.
That's like a learning thing for me.
I don't know.
See,
I think maybe the people at Brew Beer are wrong, and I'm right.
yeah, that's a huge hurdle to get over once you start like reviewing beer. And what was that?
It's
You don't
this
like
is
it?
definitely less bitter. I know. I like it more than
It's
that.
not. It's
Okay.
not.
No,
It's not less bitter.
Yep.
No, see, I think now that you said that IBUs and the hoppiness
Stay on
aren't
my side, Greg.
necessarily the same thing.
no, they're not. Yeah,
So I think I taste the hops a lot less than the last one,
right.
but it's more of like I don't want to say like a grain bitterness. Like I taste that a little more.
So the bitterness you're probably getting is hops that was put in immediately at the boil.
Okay,
Okay.
I can
So
get
when-
the hops at the very back. At the very,
Okay.
that's where the bitterness is.
Yeah. So the earlier in the boil you put hops, and I know I've explained this before, but
For Cody,
so when you start a boil, the boil lasts 60 minutes. If you put hops in that, and this confuses people, but at the 60-minute mark, so that's like you have 60 minutes left in the boil.
It's like a soccer timer.
Yeah. I don't know how soccer.
No, wait.
Okay.
Soccer goes up.
what? Dude, I don't know. I don't watch soccer.
I don't know.
It's the World Cup.
Right.
You guys aren't
It's a
watching the World
timer.
Cup?
It goes down.
No.
no, sorry.
So at 60 minutes left in the boil, that's where you're getting most of your bitterness.
If it's in there the whole time.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right. And like the closer you get to the end when you're adding hops is the more aroma flavor you're getting instead of bitterness.
It's the teabag effect.
Is that
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
that
talked
on
about-
one of the
yeah.
episodes.
Yeah. It's like the reverse teabag effect.
All right,
You-
Kyle, I want you to explain the teabag effect to me.
The teabag effect is whenever you have hot water and you put a teabag in it. The longer you leave the teabag in there, the more bitter it's going to get.
Okay.
Right.
That's how it will correlate with hops.
All right.
It's
Yeah,
basic.
so the longer you keep the hops in, the more you get the hop flavor.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I think, okay, so I'm going to say I kind of carrying on the tea analogy. Is it fair to say that this is like the hops that are in here are just a little milder or like not as bitter? Or does that have to do with the brew, like how they're added and for how long?
See, different. I can't remember off the top of my head the alpha acids and Hallertau. But the more alpha acids you have in a hop, the more bittering potential it has.
Huh. Okay.
So, if it's a higher alpha acid and you put it in at 60 minutes, that you're going to get a lot more bitterness than putting a lower alpha acid hop in at the same time.
Gotcha.
Can you describe malt now?
Malt?
Yeah, what's that flavor like?
Like the caramely,
Caramel-esque.
molasses-y
there's
kinda
that.
notes.
But there's so many different kinds of malt that's hard to
All
describe.
right, well, how about this one?
This one, let me try it again. A little bit of caramel, light caramel.
Caramel or caramel?
It's caramel.
Caramel.
I've decided not to pick that fight with Kyle, so I'm going to back off.
Because I think you would have
Because
lost.
I think he had the look of death in his eye.
This is my least favorite out of this group, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
This would be like second, third, somewhere in there. They're pretty close.
I think these
Pretty
are
close
all-
between the summer ale.
I've had
Yeah.
this a couple times before, and I had it with a really good sirloin steak,
That'd be
and
good.
it paired excellently. Like Boston lager and a steak was good stuff.
Now, when I say it's my least favorite, that doesn't mean I don't like it.
Yeah, I give it like a
I've
7.5.
really liked all of these,
Yeah.
honestly.
7.5 out of 10.
I think these are all about in the same tier
Yeah.
of like beers. Because, I mean, they're all better than like Bud Light or Miller or.
Don't talk bad on the beer, my
course.
people.
No. I mean, yeah, I feel like this is just kind of, I don't know, confirmed me in my enjoying, like every Sam Adams beer I've had, I've been like, that's pretty good, or like, it's at least like
Bad.
good, you know? I don't know that any of these are like exceptionally great, but I do really like all of them.
The Sam 76 will always stand out for me.
Yeah.
That's one that I will go back
Porch
to.
Rocher. It's a good beer.
It's Rocker.
It's definitely Rocher in my eyes.
There's not even an A in it.
Well,
Porch
Roker.
Roger?
Roger?
Porch Rocker.
Roger.
it was far away and it was in the fridge.
It wasn't that
and
far.
I have bad eyes.
It was less than a yard.
No, that's a yard.
I'll show you a yard.
Right there out the window.
There it is.
All right. Well, anything else to say about this beer?
7.5 out of 10.
I think
like-
this is my least favorite too out of these four.
I definitely like it more than all of you guys.
It's just I don't dislike it. It's just
Right.
it's just kind of like
Yeah,
I'd get it at a restaurant or something.
absolutely.
Yeah, me too.
I would not be disappointed with it if I got it at like a craft brewery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't think I'd buy like a case though.
If it was like the last beer,
In the world,
yeah, I could definitely
I'd be
drink a
happy
lot of
with
it
it.
still.
you see,
yeah.
but like I would buy it at a restaurant or a bar, but I wouldn't want to have like 30 of them in my house.
No,
Yeah.
no.
I see.
Yeah.
This is like I would buy a 6-pack, but I wouldn't buy a case.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'd buy 6.
And that's not me. That's not a knock against it. I just don't think it's that kind of beer.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they even sell it in like a 30-pack?
I hope they don't.
Yeah, they do. they
Definitely.
They-
Unless it's like 6 of you drinking it, you don't need a 30.
Yeah.
I think it's a 24 pack. Is what they
Okay.
sell it.
So like 3 of you drinking it.
So okay, if
You know, if you have 8 each, that's about enough.
so if you guys had to rank the 4 beers that we've tried, like where would you place each one of them?
Porch Rocher for me is number 1. Then you
Really?
got the Boston Lager. Then you got the Summer Ale. Then the 76.
Really?
Man,
So for me, it's gonna go. Number 1 is Sam 76. Number 2 would be the Summer Ale. 3 the Porch Rocker, and then 4 would be this Boston Lager. But don't get me wrong, each of these were very good.
Yeah.
yeah. I think I'm going Summer Ale, probably my number 1, followed by the Sam 76, then the Boston Lager, and then the Porch Rocker.
Those were good guesses, guys. But the actual ranking is 76 Summer Ale, Porch Rocker, Boston Lager. Actually, I think that's what you said,
That
Jeff.
is exactly
Congrats
what I
on
said.
getting 100% right.
Thank you.
Man, so you guys really like the Porch Rocker more than the Boston Lager.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's weird.
So I was already set up to drink lighter stuff.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
You were conditioned.
Yeah.
Yeah,
After
I
the
was
first
too.
two.
You don't use conditioner.
Actually, I go to DG and you just get their shampoo conditioner. They sell. It's
Don't
pretty
call
good stuff.
Dollar General DG.
It's DG.
Don't call it DG.
Listen, you're living in Harrisville. You're just like, hey, I got to run the DG. It's right up the road.
Was that a thing that you said to your brother? Or was
No,
that
that's the thing my brother said to me. Like,
run
yo,
to
we're
the
going to
DG.
DG. I was like, what's a DG? And I was like, I know where you're going.
All right, Jack, back to your point.
Yeah.
What point were you making? You were conditioned to like
I
lighter
was
beer?
conditioned to like the other three more than the Boston Lager just because they were lighter and the malt they were obviously not as bitter. I feel like if I came into this clean and did just the Boston Lager first, I would like it a lot
Should
more.
we be cleansing our palates between each one? That's what wine tasters do, I think.
Yeah, but like the thing is we drink enough of it that our palate changed the further into the beer we got. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we had this discussion on the way here. I was asking Jack because I had a beer the other night that the first couple sips, I really liked it. And then as I got further down the glass, it just didn't taste good to me anymore. And I asked him about that. And he said, like, your palate gets used to that, right? And so you kind of stop tasting those flavors. Like, for me, it was the flavors that I liked in the beer. And I started tasting the flavors that I didn't really like in the beer. So that's why it kind of got worse as I went.
Right. That it just and it makes sense now that you're thinking about it, right?
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
beer is so complex, and something like what you were drinking had a lot to it. Mm-hmm. So like the further you drink a beer, the more of the flavors you're gonna find. Like Cody, you and I had a beer last night that was very good. It was very rich, and the first half was very enjoyable, but then you got to the second half, and it was a struggle.
It was a drag, yeah.
It was a struggle to get through. I finished mine. You didn't even finish yours.
I did not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate when some of the boards warp in my palate and I can't get my palate jack onto it.
See, that's something that like the
Did you just get that?
But that's something about Sam Adams that like I feel like all four of these as I go, like I still like I definitely taste different things, but I like all of the flavors like the whole way through drinking it.
Oh yeah.
We're also doing palate jokes here all week, so come back next week.
So if you need some cheap wood, you know where to look.
So
Is our palates cheap?
Yeah,
What, really?
Yeah, most places give them away when they're done with them.
yeah, we do at work.
Yeah.
there you have it.
We had a guy and an old dude that had been coming for like 4 years to get pallets and was fight over a stack of pallets. Like we were worried there's gonna be a fist fight in the parking lot over a stack of pallets. Because this guy was saying he was like, I get $10 a pallet, and we were like, no, you don't.
No, you don't.
And the old guy was like, I get $0.25 a pallet.
God, the pallet industry is much more complex than I would have guessed.
I don't know where they take them. But
Where do they come from?
they come from my store off trucks.
No, but where do you get them?
The pallet company.
Probably trees. I don't know.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Probably.
You ain't never seen a pallet tree?
You ain't ever seen a plastic Pepsi pallet.
I don't know what you're talking about. I do know what you're
Pepsi
talking about.
pallets are plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I hate them
Yeah.
because they're not standard size, so I just have to move the forks on the forklift. I'm getting
Well, yeah, let's get to. I guess part 2 of this podcast is going to be palate discourse.
Yes. So what do you guys think about pallets? What do you think about the CHEP 1.3?
All right. We're
Is that a real thing?
Yes, it is.
God bless you, Kyle.
Jack told me we have a bonus beer for this episode.
Oh, we do.
yeah, let's get to
no.
All right, bonus beer time,
Yeah.
guys.
So this is called Little Gruesome Peanut Butter Jelly Stout. Now I bought this on a whim.
Give us that description.
I smelled it.
There is no description.
Aluminum can.
I enjoy that it's an aluminum can, but it's got a sticker on it. It's just a plain aluminum.
Where'd you get this from?
One of the beer distributors near us.
It was behind DG.
Okay, so this smell, it reminds me of.
At first, you can't see through it at all.
No,
There's no
it's
head.
very dark. No, the smell reminds me of. I used to vape, and there's something about that smell of like a real dark, dank vape juice that this smells like.
I kind of get a peanut butter smell, or just peanut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get peanut smell. Like you walk into the Texas Roadhouse and all you smell is
Yes,
peanut.
you know
Oh,
what?
yeah.
You know what? That's it.
Yeah.
Little
It's
bit.
the Texas Roadhouse
Yes.
entrance.
It really
Cigarettes and peanuts.
is. You walk
honestly,
through the first
though.
two doors, there's people smoking outside, and you walk through the doors and it's just peanuts and cigarettes. Yeah,
That's what it smells
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
That's what
Peanuts
it
and
smells
cigarettes.
like.
yeah, I understand.
All right. Let's try it.
Let's not. Oh my god, I love it.
Really?
No. Oh, it kind of tastes like cigarettes.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not that bad.
I do taste a little bit of cigarette.
If you went to the Landmark and you were eating peanuts and you were drinking beer,
So it's a mixture between like if you took a perfectly good dark beer and you mix something really sour into it and smoked a cigarette while you were drinking it.
Yeah.
That's what this tastes
That's
like.
what-
If you
Tastes
drink
like-
a beer out of an ashtray. Hey, why is it?
Yeah.
So here's my question. Why is there so much acidity to it?
That's the grapes they used. I'm guessing they used grapes.
the
So it's
sourness of the grapes and the peanut butter
It's
just
wine.
does not mix well.
Yeah.
it's cigarette wine.
Like jelly doesn't taste like that.
It kind of. This is gonna sound weird. It kind of like attacks my mouth the same way that smoking a cigarette does.
I can get that. Yeah.
I've
You
never
get-
smoked a cigarette,
Yeah.
but
It kind of feels like you're drinking this beer. See, I'm not stupid.
How it just coats your mouth and stays there for like 20 minutes.
The good thing about this is my clothes won't smell for 2 days.
Don't like it. It tastes too much like cigarettes.
God, it's so acidic.
Yeah, it's
What kind of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are these people eating?
not good ones.
It's like you dipped a cigarette in like really like bitter, acidic something and smoked it.
I'm done with that.
Yeah, do we have to finish it?
No, we don't have. That's why I gave us a real short course.
All right, hard pass on this one. Like 0 out of 10.
Big
for
boy.
sure.
Yeah, negative cigarettes out of 10.
I was very upset with this beer because I paid way too much for that 4-pack.
I'm going to give it like a 5 out of 10.
Do you want the rest of mine?
Sure.
Here you go.
You can have the rest of everybody's, man. Not a fan.
We are now into the play section.
What are we talking about?
We are talking about games that have come out in the last 2 weeks. Basically.
Oh.
Well, I'm talking about that.
Okay.
So, Crash Team Racing came out last week. I've played a ton of it so far.
Was that your favorite game as like a kid? I know you liked Crash a lot.
Right. No. I forget where it was. It was on my top 10, but I forget where it was.
It was up there.
Yeah, it was up there.
Because this will be funny. I never played a Crash Bandicoot game. I played Crash Team Racing and Crash Bash.
Oh, yeah. Crash Team Racing, this new one, this Nitro Fueled, I think is what it's called, is kind of like a spiritual remake.
Yeah. I saw some people on Twitter were complaining about it just because some of the tracks like don't work the same. Like I forget the sewer level was called, but like apparently the shortcut is different. And the like drifting on the slopes is different.
It is. I think it's a good different personally.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. I played a lot of that game this week.
I never think it's a good idea to try a 1-for-1 remake because you're never going to get it perfect.
Right.
And it's always
Yeah.
going to disappoint people.
Although Crash Insane Trilogy was really close.
Were those remakes? Or
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. Yeah, they
Yeah,
made
it was
from
the first 3 games redone. And they did an excellent job.
What I was thinking of was Resident Evil 2. Because that wasn't a 1-to-1 remake. It was almost more like a reimagining. And I know people love that.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to remake a game that people loved, you kind of have to imagine it differently.
Right.
That's and I'll segue into Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because that game's going to be completely different from the original Final Fantasy VII, except for the story, which I think's a great idea. Because Final Fantasy VII, I think, is one of the like 100 out of 100 RPGs.
Okay.
And you'll never perfectly recreate it.
Okay.
And I think they're smart for not trying to recreate what it was, but trying to make a new experience out of it.
Right.
And that's any game, even Crash Team Racing, I think a remake you should try and make a new experience with it.
Right.
Because you're not going to recapture what people felt like when they were 7 playing it.
Although, in Insane Trilogy, that did happen to me.
Yeah.
When I played through Crash 3, took me back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably not the exact same. Like,
Yeah.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Like, and I agree with you. Don't take this as me not agreeing with you. But there are certain times where they can get it right.
Right. And that's, And
Right.
when it's done right, it's like, amazing.
It is. However, it is so hard to get it right that I don't trust game companies enough to get it right. So I think that a reimagining, like you put it, is way better.
I think the best like remake that I've played is the 3DS re-releases of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. So Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah.
So like when we did our top 10s, my number 1 game was Pokemon Emerald. Like I've played that game through more times than any other game ever. And when I got a 3DS and played through Omega Ruby, like it hit all of those nostalgic notes while at the same time like adding all the new features they'd added in like the subsequent generations of Pokemon, and like I thought it was really well integrated all together. So it had that balance of like nostalgia, but also all of the good things that they've added since the Game Boy Advance, you know?
Right.
Should we just talk about remakes?
We can.
I mean, that's.
I can't think of a remake I've like recently liked really got
How about,
into.
is there a game that you want to be remade?
That's a good question, man.
I'd love for Lord of the Rings Online to get remade. That graphics engine is just so old.
Yeah.
Everything just looks so bad. Like the fighting style is just terrible. But like I want to reiterate on like the Final Fantasy front, because I never played that game.
Okay.
I just figured they would have deteriorated so much if they were good at one point. After you remade them so many times and made so many different ones, I just thought they would just get bad and stale.
I think I haven't played all of them. I've played a good chunk of them. I think what Final Fantasy does right is one game after the next it's not like the same combat system. Okay. And it's not the same overworld, and it's not really the same themes. So they're all Final Fantasy games, but they're all standalone, independent.
Okay. Because anytime I see a game with that many different like, chapters, I think
13.
Right.
that's Call of Duty syndrome right there.
Yeah. That's I mean, for any game to get 15 sequels, and I don't know how many Final Fantasy spin-offs there are, you know, there has to be something new with each one.
Fair enough.
Right.
Except Call of Duty, which
or
any sports game.
Well, okay. Spinning off of Call of Duty just for a few minutes.
Oh, the
Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah. So it's a reimagining, I guess. It's not a remake.
Well, isn't it? It's just the next Call of Duty, but they're just calling it.
No, see, they said it's not after Modern Warfare 3.
Oh.
So it's like same
they're just
characters, but kind of different story.
Of the original.
Like Captain Price is in it.
Oh. What did you think of the remake, or it was a remaster
Of
Modern
the original.
Warfare?
I only played probably a quarter of the way through the campaign. Just because, I already did this before. I liked multiplayer until they added the extra guns that weren't in the original game.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I thought I played the whole way through the campaign, and I thought it was well done for a remaster.
Right.
Especially out of modern Call of Duty. Anything that's like playable is not too bad.
Right.
So that's one of the things though when you do remakes, because sometimes, like, I don't know, for me, like there are some games that have been remade that like I didn't play the first time around, and then I'm glad that they didn't change anything so I can still get the same story. But at the same time, there are other games where I'm glad that they, like games that I did play the original of, that I'm glad when they re-release them that they've changed a little bit, so it's not like just the same experience with better graphics, or
Right.
I think one of the cool things is like games in the 90s and early 2000s. Like some of the good ones were still like bad. Like some really good games are just like not fun to play or difficult to play or just haven't aged well. And I think in the last 2 or 3 years there's been a big like remake and remaster push. And I know a lot of people complain about it the same way that they complain about movies that get remade or stuff like that. But I'm more okay with it with video games because sometimes they just make them better. Because,
exactly.
I mean, 20, 10 years later, we know how to make better video games.
Yeah.
That might not be the case for movies.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get there in the next segment.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
But about Generation 3 Pokemon, that's also my favorite. And Emerald's in my top 10 for sure. The Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire were not my favorite.
Really?
I don't know why. It seemed almost too different from the originals to me.
Huh.
But you're right in that it was like playing a new game.
Yeah.
And I got that familiar feeling, but I kind of wanted it to be more like nostalgia heavy.
See, I really liked that through like the main story of the game, it reminded me of like those days of playing like Sapphire and Emerald over and over again. But after like I beat the Elite Four, it had all of the Gen 4 through like 7 Pokemon. And I don't know, like, because I played X and Y, and like I thought they were pretty good, but when they re-released the 3rd gen games with like that engine, with all the mechanics that they'd implemented up through, because like it was great in Omega Ruby for me being able to have the EXP share and share experience with all Pokemon instead of like the original Gen 3 games where like you have one Pokemon that's getting experience. And if you want to train them, you have to like grind and grind and grind. Like it got rid of a lot of the tedium that I wasn't real huge on from the original ones. And it had like all the items and moves and mechanics and Pokemon that they'd added in the later generations. So yeah, I just loved, like for me, I thought it struck a good balance of the original like story of the game playing through like single player reminded me of those experiences as a kid, but like updated. And then afterwards, like playing online with all of the Pokemon from all generations that were released at that point. Like I really enjoyed that.
You mentioned something that I think is interesting. You said it took the like tediousness out of it. And I think it's so funny. I think as kids, we were so more willing to like just spend hours doing nothing in video games.
Yeah.
Like
Sure.
I look back at some of the stuff I did as a kid. Like I put like over 900 hours into like games that like are not 900 hours long.
Yeah.
And it's like what I did. I just ran around. Like when I was a kid and I played Kingdom Hearts 2, I would just skateboard for like 3 hours at a time. And it's like that's not something you should do. But I was a dumb 9-year-old and it was awesome. And that's so interesting now to play video games when it's like I have to, I only have 2 hours before I have to go to sleep so I can go to work. So it's I have to play as efficiently as possible and I can't waste any time and I can't explore.
No, that's really funny how like your priorities shift. Because I know for me, like when I was younger, it was no problem to have a game that had like a 30-hour story, 40-hour story, like even longer than that sometimes, and play it like a couple hours a day for a long time and play through the whole thing. And nowadays, I definitely find myself drawn more towards like shorter games. Like for me, that's why I really enjoy roguelikes, because I don't always have the time to sit down and invest myself in like a 50-hour long story game. But like a good roguelike, you can get a run done in like an hour, maybe an hour and a half. And there's like that satisfying experience and it's kind of done at the end. You know what I mean?
That's like I just beat God of War from last year.
Okay.
And it was like a 40-hour game. And I don't know, I liked it because like I beat it and I was done.
Okay.
Like, you
I
know-
can understand that
Right.
too. Yeah.
There wasn't anything else to
'cause,
go
like,
back and explore.
That's true.
Games from last year, Red Dead 2 is like a game where it's like you're never really done with it.
Yeah, that's
Right.
like all those games though.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The open world.
Most open
There's
more
world
to
games
do.
feel like that.
You're
yeah.
never actually done with everything you can do.
Right.
So I got a question from something Greg said. What's the longest video game you think you've ever played? Not like most time ever put into, but like longest story in a game you've ever played.
As far as you played, or is it as the total story?
I guess how long the game was, not like how many hours you put into it. Because I'm sure you put a billion hours into the Lord of the Rings online game, but that game's like
There's
not.
a lot there.
It's like not that long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll start because I know mine off the top of my head. I played Persona 5 last summer, and I beat it in 89 hours.
Ugh,
And that's the longest game I know I've ever played.
I have to think about that.
Yeah.
The game I played through the most story of that has the longest story that I never beat.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
really.
Like I tried to
Okay.
beat that game for so long, but the story just goes forever. I don't know where it ends. I just kept playing and I couldn't get there.
It just goes and
That's
goes.
another open world game where like
I know, but like the actual like main story, like I couldn't figure out where it ended. Like I couldn't get there.
That's fair. I don't know, man.
I'm trying to remember my Steam
Like as far as like a
password.
Steam game where I can track how many hours I played it, I don't have a lot of like really story based games
Yeah.
on Steam.
I don't
Okay.
either. That's the problem.
So I have something that's kind of like, it's kind of related to this question. So I have played Fallout 4 for 74 hours on Steam. And I think I've done like 2 main story missions. And then I just didn't like, I wasn't that invested in the main story. So for me, I've spent 74 hours doing side quests and exploring the wasteland. And for me, like especially with Fallout 4, I enjoyed that a lot more than, the main story. But that's kind of like a different thing. Like there are some games that I've invested lots of hours playing through the story. And there are other games where I put in a ton of time and didn't care about like the main story, but there's like smaller stories that I'm more interested in, like side quest kind of thing.
Yeah, right. Because a side quest, you can start it and you can get a story and you can finish it and be done in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it's just personally from my experience, a lot of times like side quests like that are more interesting because it's easier to write a good side quest.
Yeah.
Like I've played more good side quests than I have main quests. Like obviously there are more side quests in games than main quests, but
I'm always amazed just for long games. Like I think about how do you write a game that's 100 hours long?
yeah.
All right. Right. Yeah.
Like, and obviously it's not 100 hours of dialogue and stuff,
Yeah.
but it's still like, how long is that script? How much flavor text do you write? How many sessions do you sit down with the other writers and like, all right, we'll pick it up at hour 2.
Right.
We have 30 pages of a script.
Yeah.
Like,
I couldn't imagine.
I would love to know that process. We got far off from remakes.
Yeah. That's all right. My game would probably be Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
Like I know it's not like particularly a long game, but with all the side quests and stuff, I've spent a lot of time in that world. So
I like narrative games, like
Yeah.
those long ones. But I think they're tricky to do to get me to play a game for 100 hours because it's like
Yeah.
I have to like all the characters and I have to
Right.
be invested in what's happening to these.
the story's got to be good.
And that's why Persona 5, I didn't get to do my top 10 list because I was absent. But Persona 5,
Do you have a top 10 list? Because you can just go.
I mean, I
over it.
could guesstimate most of it. I know Persona 5 is my favorite game of all time.
Okay.
And I only played it last year.
Right.
Because it's like, it took me 89 hours almost exactly to beat, and I enjoyed like every hour of it.
Right. Right.
Because the characters were very good, and I got engaged, and I cared about like what happened. Other games I like, Fallout New Vegas is in there.
Yeah.
Pokemon Emerald's up there. Pokemon Platinum's up there. I just beat Persona 4 a couple weeks ago, which I played because I liked Persona 5 so much. And that might be in my top 10. God of War was pretty good. I don't know if that's a top 10 game.
It's tough thinking of it on the spot.
It
That's what I
is.
did.
Yeah.
It
Because
is.
I just, Kingdom Hearts 2. That's my second favorite game of all time.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. And then my third favorite game of all time is Fire Emblem Awakening. So yeah, those are 3 narrative games that all take like
Nice.
20.
Oh, can we throw out some
40
honorable
shots.
mentions?
Yeah, go for
just
it.
throw them out.
Oh, honorable mentions. Age of Empires 2. It's the game that got me into strategy games.
Okay.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, I love that
How
game
much
so
time
much.
did you put into that?
On Steam, 44 hours.
Okay.
But in total, I would say I probably have like over 300 hours in that game. Because I don't remember what
Wow.
year that game came out, but on Steam, it's the Age of Empires 2 HD editions. There was not HD whenever you originally bought that game. You could play it on any PC you wanted to. It was all pixelated and stuff. It was great.
Nice.
Oh man.
I feel like, did you like have a summer where you got that game and you just like played it every day?
Yeah.
I remember as kids, like every summer I would have like a game that's like,
Yep.
I'm just going to play it for 8 hours today
That was Age of
because
Empires 2.
because I'm
when I was, like,
13 years
9.
old and I have nothing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
A narrative game that I really enjoyed that not a lot of people liked was Max Payne 3.
You're right. Not a lot of people did
A lot
like
of people
it.
liked it, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah?
I really did.
Why?
I liked it had kind of like a comic book aspect to it, which for some reason I was super into at that point in time. It was so action movie-esque that I went, okay, this is just going to be fun. Don't try to pull out something like too deep about this. Like when we talked about John Wick last time, I'm not watching it to be this great story.
Dude, someday I'll write a dissertation on John Wick. Just you wait.
So I did like that game.
If John Wick was a game, like the fighting would be great, but the story, I'd be like, meh,
Yeah.
it's okay.
Okay, so this is one of those things. I feel like for me, at least
Describe it in terms of a game for you.
No, at least the last couple of years, I have, because I haven't had the time to invest in like a long story game as much.
Okay.
It's more about like the mechanics and the emotional experience more so than like an overarching long-term story. Like of personally what I've enjoyed. So like one of my top 10 games was the Stanley Parable. And like you could probably find all the endings in that game in like under 10 hours. But the experience that I had of playing that game just really stuck with me and I loved it. Or like Hollow Knight, like it was another one of my top 10s. Like there's not as much of an explicit story per se. It's more about the lore and the world and like the experience you get from playing the game that kind of really stick with me. But I think a lot of that is kind of the amount of time I've had to play games.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think I'm almost the opposite now, where like I have so little time to play video games. Like I can play video game all day, every day, that I feel like I would rather put my time into beating a long game than like not playing a short game, but like playing a game online.
Okay.
You know, because like we used to play Overwatch all the time, and it's like I nowadays I don't want to sit down and spend my evening to play Overwatch because there's no like it's fun, but you get no feeling of like progression out of
Right.
it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I sit down for a couple hours and play, I don't know, an RPG or something, and I progress the story and something like that, I feel like it's almost like I've read a book for 2 hours or
Right.
something.
Yeah.
I feel better about how I've spent my time, which goes back to the whole I value my time now differently,
Right.
I feel
right.
that.
which is an interesting aspect of, I guess, growing up.
I
and
think
becoming
maybe that has
sad
to do with
adults.
like me because like I studied English in college, so like I read a ton of books, and for me, like honestly, if I'm gonna read like a novel, I want to get it done within like a week. And if I take like a month or two, or like I read a really long, like 800-page novel, right? It took me like all year to read, and I didn't get the same like impact out of it that I know I would have if I had had the time to like read for like 4 hours a day and knock it out in like a week and a half, you know?
Yeah.
And I kind of feel the same way about like game stories. So like I played Deus Ex Human Revolution over like a Christmas break or something. And it was like 27 hours on record for my Steam playthrough. And like I loved it. And I was really interested in the story and the world and all these like interesting topics it was bringing up, like human augmentation and I loved it, but I'm glad that it was only about 30 hours of gameplay and I could play through it in the span of like 2 weeks. Because I definitely love longer games, but for me, like I like to get them all in a shorter time frame.
Right.
You know, get all the story like together, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense.
I think that's why I got a lot into survival games lately, because like you're making your own story. Like you can start it and end it whenever you feel like.
Right.
Except the end is usually when something kills you and you made a lot of progress in doing something.
I've noticed that too. Like a lot of games that have kind of ways you can make your own story. Like this past week, I started playing XCOM 2 again.
Oh,
And like the way that like
Love it.
I'll spend like, you know, an hour like customizing a character,
Yeah, I know.
writing a backstory
Yeah.
for them, and then they die and I'm just absolutely devastated. Like you spent all this time making them look cool, writing them all this lore, like this person, you know, did all these cool things. Here's their childhood, like here's who they are, and like they just get picked off.
Yep,
and
immediately.
You're, like,
And you're just like,
you,
wow.
you really feel that.
It's like, come on, man. I spent all that time building that base, and you're just gonna let me get killed by a wolf after I ran out of stamina?
that's such a different like style than like a narrative game, because it's like
Yeah.
I'll go back to Persona 5. Like that game is locked in of like the story happens how it happens.
Right.
And you just live with that. It's like a book. Like you read a book and it's the words on the page.
Right.
But like XCOM, yeah, it's like you can more or less, or any open world game, you can do whatever you want in any order, like Fallout 4.
Yeah.
You could go from the very start any direction you want, and it would be a completely different experience for you.
Right.
And it's so interesting that like both kinds of those games can be good and have like emotional impact and like narrative impact on you.
Right.
Interesting. What an interesting medium.
Right? People
Yeah.
say games can't be art, but man, they can emotionally impact you in very different ways, which is really cool.
That's good. Neat. Well, I think we spent probably more time than we should have in the play section.
That was a great place.
Oh, it was great. It was
Yeah.
great. No,
Yeah.
I
no,
feel like
no
it was a great
complaints. So that's great.
You
All
wanna
right.
hit movies real quick. Hit watch real quick.
Yeah, we'll do watch. Does anybody need a break before we go into watch?
I'm gonna pee
Okay.
and then probably grab a beer.
I need a drink or something. My mouth's real dry and tastes like cigarettes from that beer. Yeah, what have we been watching?
I haven't watched anything new lately, but a movie that's coming out that I really want to see is Yesterday.
Yes.
Haven't heard of it yet.
it looks really
It's the
interesting.
one where it's like, what if the Beatles never existed?
Yeah.
Except one guy remembers the Beatles. And so he just like does all their
I
songs.
love wacky situations.
He,
Yeah.
he like
Yeah.
So
does
cool.
all their songs and gets I don't know, I haven't seen the movie, but the trailers make it show like he gets real famous off doing
That's
Beatles
cool.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
It's
It's an
concepts
interesting
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Ed Sheeran's like a main character in it.
Well, that's why you want to see it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But
One thing I want to talk about, what do you think the implications of the like director's cut Endgame re-release is?
oh, hold on.
So-
Because a lot of people
I haven't seen Endgame.
Me
Okay,
either.
well we won't spoil it.
Yeah.
But just the implications of a lot of people being like, do movies have DLC now?
So from what I have heard, they haven't actually changed the cut of the movie itself. They've just added more post-credit scenes.
Oh.
That's one thing I'm going to hate on in the Marvel Universe. End credit scenes. Why did you have to start this? You mean I have to sit through and watch all the actors who I already knew their names,
You don't have to.
and then I have to sit there and, but if you want to get the sneak peek for the next movie, you got to sit there and watch through all that stuff.
You got to work for it if you want the sneak peek.
Yeah.
But I agree with you, because then movies throw them in for no reason, like Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
Pacific Rim has a dumb end credit scene for no reason other than they think it was cool.
And then-
Pacific Rim's a good movie. Though.
Pacific Rim 2 was just like, you didn't continue the story.
It was a bad movie.
Why did you do that? You had such a great story to start with, and you're just like, you know what? Throw it out the window. We're going to make something new.
Anyway, so what I was trying to think of other movies that had gotten like director's cut re-releases, and the only one I could come up with was Batman vs Superman.
Right.
Didn't that happen with Blade Runner?
Blade Runner got 3
'cause there were-
different
yeah.
theatrical releases.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got a bunch. What else did?
I love Blade Runner, by the way.
Which one?
Oh, do you remember that
Okay,
terrible
so-
theatrical I Am Legend one?
Oh
No.
I
yeah.
don't remember that.
Yeah.
there's.
I think
there-
I've seen the alternate ending, though.
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, okay.
The theatrical ending was so bad. It
See,
was so dumb.
I read the book, and it was way better than the movie. Like, I love Will Smith, but, like, I don't know. But anyway, Blade Runner. Hot take. I liked the first one.
With the voiceover?
No, so I've only seen like the final cut, so that
Okay.
doesn't have the
With the-
phoned in voiceover that
All
Harrison
right.
Ford didn't want to do.
Is the final cut the one that has the dream sequence?
Yeah, with
I
the
don't like that one.
unicorn.
I
thing.
like the voiceover because I like Harrison Ford, and I like goofy Harrison Ford, and he really did the voiceovers kind of goofy.
Well, yeah, because he thought like he didn't want to do it.
He didn't
so
wanna
like,
put
if I
him
do
in.
it bad enough, they won't put it in the movie, and then they put it in the movie.
That's kind
anyway.
of why I don't know. I think that's I haven't seen the second cut, which I don't know what's different about it, but I like the original like theatrical release best, just because it has the goofy voiceovers.
I've seen the final cut of Blade Runner, and it was pretty good. And I've seen Blade Runner 2049, which I liked better than the original one.
It's pretty good. Do you guys think? Would you be in favor of movies getting like director's cut, like released like right before they leave theaters? They get like, hey, if you want for 2 weeks, we're going to show the director's cut.
I feel like it depends. I don't know.
Depends on the director.
See, I don't know. I feel like most of the time, if the director has the control that like they want, they don't end up doing a director's cut.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they end up releasing the movie that they want to. I feel like it's only when there's disparity between like the director's vision and what the studio wants that they get a director's cut that's drastically different.
It's really iffy because like you can watch a director's cut and it could be great, but if it gives away elements of the story and you want to watch the regular movie, it just defeats the purpose because you already know what kind of happens.
Yeah.
But if it's better altogether, it's great.
Yeah.
Right. No, I get that. But going off of what you said, I think when there is a director's cut released, I think it really is like the director saying, "Okay, studio, you wouldn't let me make the movie that I wanted to make. So, yeah, you have your theatrical release, but look at what I wanted to do with it."
Unless it's Batman v Superman and Zack Snyder is like, oh crap, people didn't like it. Let's try
retcon it,
Let's just take everything we left on the cutting room floor and try to make a good movie. Oh crap, people didn't like that either.
No, so when you talk about like the different cuts, the one thing that comes to mind is Donnie Darko. I really like that movie. I just love Jake Gyllenhaal, but Donnie Darko it's a pretty good movie. I like it quite a bit. But apparently in like there's like a director's cut where I don't know if you guys have seen it or not, but there's like some time travel stuff. And in the director's cut, they spent a lot more time explaining the time travel stuff. And I hate that. Like that's my least favorite part of the movie is all the time travel stuff. The more interesting stuff is like the character driven drama and like all the themes that are more specific to like the characters and human interaction. I'm less interested in the like explanation of how time travel works.
I think any like sci-fi or fantasy movie that tries to over-explain it, because it's boring, right?
Yeah.
That's why like Lord of the Rings is so good, because it's not like it just throws you in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like and you just accept it. And he's like, yeah, hobbits are short people, wizards, big eagles. I don't know, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I like when movies have like a very simple explanation as to this is how we did this.
Like sci-fi movies.
Yeah, like Jurassic Park. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dead bugs.
That's
Yeah.
like it's like
Yeah.
2 lines, and you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
And then like immediately after, it's like, oh, dinosaurs. Yeah.
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah, I think I would describe movies like that, like they don't get in their own way. Like Jurassic Park is like, I want to watch dinosaurs,
Right.
And it
Yeah.
it doesn't get in its own way. It just gives you dinosaurs,
Right.
Yeah. As long as they're like the movie has its own world, and as long as that world is like consistent and believable, like that's totally fine. Like I don't know, you haven't seen Cody the John Wick movies, but we've been talking about them the last couple of like episodes, and I know like that's one of the coolest things about those movies is the universe that it sets up. Like it's real over the top, but it has its rules and everything feels consistent, even though it's clearly like a video game movie inspired universe. Like things are more over the top than real life, but it still has its own rules and consistencies and tone.
Right. Exactly.
That's I think as long as a movie is like has fun within its own boundaries. I don't
Yeah.
care what those boundaries are.
Right.
And I think
Yeah.
that's where some movies get caught up when they're like, oh, we have to explain how.
Right.
Yeah, when
I
you're
feel
just
like-
listening to 30 minutes of dialogue explaining
Yeah.
how a world works.
That's I don't like Avatar.
I've never seen it.
I don't like
It's
it.
really long.
It
And
is long.
I think I think Avatar is a movie that gets in its own way because it's like,
Yeah.
what do I want to watch when I see Avatar? I'm saying the 10-foot tall blue people fight robots,
right.
and it like takes 2 hours to get to that point because
Let me explain to you the blue people
I
and the
know.
robots
It's
and
like,
why they're there.
We're gonna explain the social structure of the blue people, and it's like I don't care.
Right.
They're 10 feet tall. They hook up their braids under the god tree. I don't know. Just show me. Let it punch a robot. That's all. I think that's kind of what happened to Pacific Rim 2. Too.
They tried to explain too much.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know. It's not enough big robot.
Let me
punch
see big robots
monster.
punch monsters. That's what made the first movie so great.
Yeah,
That's what you want.
and that's I don't know if I haven't seen the new Godzilla, but I saw some critics of it saying there's too much monsters in it. It's like it's a Godzilla movie.
Yeah, like all the
I'm not going for a drama. I'm going to see a monster punch another monster.
I haven't seen it either, but from what the critic reviews I've seen were just this is terrible. It's just monsters. And all the fans are like, I want to see big monster punch big monster.
That's yeah.
Now, see, there's a critic that I really like who is like, all you critics got it wrong. Like, there's inherent value in this beautiful spectacle of monsters fighting monsters. Like, there was too much human drama interaction. Like, we just want the monsters fighting each other. We don't care about, like, well, how did that monster suddenly wake up? We gotta have the humans doing stuff. Like, no, we just want to watch monsters fight each other.
Yeah.
Right.
That's I like in. We'll go back to Pacific Rim. They were just like, yeah, monsters come from a different dimension from the bottom of the
they
ocean.
just come out of a hole.
And you're just like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, fine. That's
Oh, that
Sounds
makes
good,
sense.
man.
If
Sweet.
a big robot's punching him, I'll watch it.
the only way we can fight them is build big robots.
Yes. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and movies that have like multiple movies stretched out across the universe, I think is really really cool. Like, not to be cliche, but the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, well, a lot's maybe not correct, but there were a few people that were upset when Kylo Ren was able to force stop that bolt at the beginning of Force Awakens. But I think that's so cool.
If you look into it, it's canon.
But at the same, it's so cool that we've gotten further in technology
Yes.
in that Star Wars universe. And the old Star Wars movies, the shock like batons that the stormtroopers would have had, the lightsabers would have gone right through them. But I think they advanced technology enough that they know how to block lightsabers now, which I don't know.
I mean, and that's fun to see because we've seen the other 2 trilogies.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It's cool to see.
It's cool,
Yeah.
and they don't have to explain it.
Right,
It's
yeah.
just known.
Yeah, it's
So-
like sci-fi. Like, so there's like sci-fi, there's like science, fantasy. Like Star Wars is definitely more fantasy. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like in Lord of the Rings, where someone's like, "There's this sword. It was forged by these people. It has these properties," and you're like, "Sweet,
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
good, man."
Right.
Like, yeah, like it's kind of like that in Star Wars. You're like, "Yeah, he can do this with the Force," and you're like, "Cool,
Yeah.
Right.
That's awesome."
Yeah, that's like we didn't question it when Obi-Wan Kenobi mind tricked the stormtroopers. We were just like, "Oh, that's awesome!"
What?
But then the prequels came out, and it's like, "Oh, actually, they use the Force because they have enzymes called midichlorians."
It's
And
like, no,
oh,
I didn't want to
dope.
know that.
you know, I was
cares?
cool when it was space magic, but
Yeah, right.
science blood's cool too.
See, I have these little things that live in my blood, and they give me Superman powers.
Let me do space magic.
Only I can use the light sword.
Did you guys see Jurassic World?
Yeah.
I saw the first one.
The first one,
The
not
first-
the
yeah,
not
Yeah, the second
fallen.
one's really bad.
Okay.
But I like the first one because it's kind of like a Godzilla movie at the end when it's the T-Rex versus the
Yes, that was great. And
whatever.
that was the
Yeah.
old T-Rex too.
Yeah.
All the scars were the same.
And that's we were talking about like movies not getting in their own way. I think that's why Jurassic World 1 I like so much because it's like I want to see a dinosaur fight another dinosaur.
Right.
And
Yeah.
the movie gives it to me.
Big monster fight big monster.
but then Jurassic World 2 is a lot of it's like weird bureaucracy and stuff and it's like I don't
And that's what I hated about Godzilla. I didn't like Godzilla.
the one from a few years ago?
Yeah.
With Bryan
Dude, I saw
Cranston?
that movie in theaters 4 times.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
You really liked it?
Okay, so
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
unpopular opinion. I didn't think that all of like the human stuff was that bad, but I really liked how
Okay,
it was
that's
kind
not
of
what I hated about
slower, and it kind of like they did a really good job in that one of showing like the size of Godzilla,
Yes,
making
I'll
him
agree
feel
with that.
huge.
Yeah.
And then when he finally shows up and like blasts a beam out of his mouth, I was just like, yes, this is amazing.
But that's my same problem with it. You call the movie Godzilla, and 99% of it is just people.
Bryan Cranston.
Brian
Yes.
Cranston's only in it for like 20 minutes.
Is he
Yeah.
really?
And
I
he
haven't
dies.
seen it.
And then he
Yeah.
dies.
Oh my.
But like,
Spoilers.
Oh,
Wow.
it was way
whatever.
too dark to even see Godzilla. You don't even see Godzilla. You see his outline when he shoots his beam off. That's it.
You see, I don't like that either because it's kind of boring. But
Yes.
I appreciate what they went for in that they were kind of trying to make Godzilla like a cryptid. Where like the whole movie was
yeah.
spent like
Yeah.
building him up. Because we know as viewers who Godzilla is.
Right. Like,
Right.
we know what
He's
he
a
is.
big
in
lizard. He
but
shoots
in
beams.
universe, they
Yeah.
were like he was a legend, and it was like they were building him up. Like, oh my god, how do we?
Came out of a portal in the ocean.
And then they reveal him, and he shoots the beam, and it's kind of a cool moment. But yes, I want to see Godzilla.
Like, I
in a
wanted to
building.
see him. Like,
Yeah.
I wanted to see him just
Right.
like go up to a skyscraper and be like,
Yep.
No, like I mean, I feel like that movie, I would probably give it like a 7 out of 10. Like if they would have condensed all the beginning stuff where like they were building up Godzilla and then had a lot more monster fight at the end, like
If
it
there
definitely
was-
would have gone up in my rating.
if there was an illuminated monster fight, like they could even do it like in like the early evening, so you could at least like see him.
That's a good time
Not
for
like
a monster.
not like it's midnight.
During golden hour. Could you come out of the ocean at golden hour, please?
Godzilla's pretty busy during the day, Kyle. He can only fight at midnight.
He's just eating those whales and stuff. He's got to take in a lot of protein to keep up that mass.
Yeah.
You're probably not wrong.
I didn't eat my 40th whale for the day. Hold on, guys. I come out to fight that monster any minute.
Have you ever watched any of the Japanese ones?
No.
I've never watched any the whole way through, but I would recommend looking up some of the fight scenes.
Yeah?
Because they get it right where it's you just want to see a big monster.
Just dudes in
punch.
monster suits fighting each other. Yeah.
In like the fight, like what's the three-headed guy's name?
It's like King Ghidorah
Yeah.
or
Or
something.
something like that.
That's there from some of the like black and white Japanese ones. Like Godzilla versus him is like it's just fun to watch.
right.
There was an excellent game for, I think I had it for the GameCube. It's like Godzilla King of Monsters or something. It was literally like pick your monsters. You could have up to 4 players and you just fight each other.
I forgot about
Destroy
game.
the city and fight each
God,
other. It was amazing.
Remember when every movie had a game?
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm happy or sad that went away.
I'm sad.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm
Yeah.
sad.
A lot of them were bad though.
Yeah, but
mean,
you
most
also
of them
had
were
the
bad.
good ones.
But then you had the Godzilla game that was a lot of fun.
I remember I had an Iron Man game for like PS2.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was the bee's knees when I was like 12 or whatever. But I'm sure it was bad.
That's fair.
So no, that's cool. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about, or are you guys ready to wrap it up?
Good to go.
Cool.
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in.
Peace out.
Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at I know on Instagram we're at Brew Play Watch, and at Twitter.
If you search for it, you'll probably
Yeah,
find it.
it's at Play Brew, because apparently Brew Play Watch was too long.
On YouTube as well.
Oh yes, we are on YouTube. We are also now on Spotify
Yeah.
and iTunes.
Nice.
Just got accepted this week, so
We're all your favorite
Oh, we got on
podcasts to
iTunes now.
listen.
yeah, we're on iTunes.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Thanks, what's the guy's name? Tim Apple?
Tim Cook.
Thanks,
He
Apple
personally
guy.
listened to the first 3 episodes and he was like, hey.
Yeah.
Third one's not even out right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not released, so but hey, it's all good. Thanks again for listening. See you guys later.